I weighed 300.
No, you didn't.
Wow.
Yes, I did, Joy.
No.
You keep saying, Joy, I
They
did.
say black don't crack. You don't have anything hanging. How could that be?
It's hanging. You just can't.
She revealed to Mindy and the viewers that her weight had once peaked at 300 pounds. That was the specific figure she chose to disclose. To provide some background, Whoopi has addressed her physical stature through various lenses over the decades, discussing the intense cultural scrutiny she has endured as a black woman in the entertainment industry. She has previously opened up about utilizing GLP-1 medications and has been remarkably transparent regarding her dissatisfaction with how Hollywood has policed her appearance. However, this explicit claim of hitting the 300-pound mark visibly caught Joy Behar by surprise. Sitting right beside her, Joy's expression shifted instantly before she voiced her skepticism aloud. She openly questioned the validity of the statement, clearly signaling her disbelief. In that high-pressure environment, before a live audience, a celebrity guest like Mindy Kaling, and millions of home viewers, Joy Behar publicly challenged the authenticity of Whoopi Goldberg's personal testimony. Whoopi's retaliation was instantaneous. A flash of genuine annoyance swept across her features as she turned toward Joy, elevating her volume just enough to signal authority. She stated with sharp precision, "Joy, I did." It was only 3 syllables, but the delivery carried immense weight. It was a specific tone of a woman who has reached her breaking point, someone exhausted by constant interrogation and determined not to let her colleagues' dismissal slide under the guise of friendly banter. The tension in the studio became thick enough to touch. Mindy looked on, and every viewer at home felt the atmosphere shift. What truly solidified this moment was that Joy refused to retreat. In previous years, even a minor correction from Whoopi would cause Joy to soften her stance. But this time, the dynamic had clearly changed forevermore. She revealed to Mindy and the viewers that her weight had once peaked at 300 pounds. That was a specific figure she chose to disclose. To provide some background, Whoopi has addressed her physical stature through various lenses over the decades, discussing the intense cultural scrutiny she has endured as a black woman in the entertainment industry. She has previously opened up about utilizing GLP-1 medications and has been remarkably transparent regarding her dissatisfaction with how Hollywood has policed her appearance. However, this explicit claim of hitting the 300-pound mark visibly caught Joy Behar by surprise. Sitting right beside her, Joy's expression shifted instantly before she voiced her skepticism aloud. She openly questioned the validity of the statement, clearly signaling her disbelief. In that high-pressure environment, before a live audience, a celebrity guest like Mindy Kaling, and millions of home viewers, Joy Behar publicly challenged the authenticity of Whoopi Goldberg's personal testimony. Whoopi's retaliation was instantaneous. A flash of genuine annoyance swept across her features as she turned toward Joy, elevating her volume just enough to signal authority. She stated with sharp precision, "Joy, I did." It was only 3 syllables, but the delivery carried immense weight. It was a specific tone of a woman who has reached her breaking point, someone exhausted by constant interrogation and determined not to let her colleagues' dismissal slide under the guise of friendly banter. The tension in the studio became thick enough to touch. Mindy looked on, and every viewer at home felt the atmosphere shift. What truly solidified this moment was that Joy refused to retreat. In previous years, even a minor correction from Whoopi would cause Joy to soften her stance. But this time, the dynamic had clearly changed forevermore. Instead of relying on her usual humor to diffuse the situation, Joy didn't attempt to joke her way out of the confrontation this time. She bypassed the typical subject-changing tactics that seasoned daytime co-hosts traditionally employed to maintain a facade of peace and prevent the audience from sensing any backstage hostility. On this occasion, Joy stubbornly held her ground. She reiterated her skepticism, signaling through her specific demeanor that she remained entirely unconvinced by Whoopi's claim. To the viewers, it was glaringly obvious that the foundational dynamic between these two legends has evolved into something far more contentious. This serves as a perfect illustration of the analysis we provided in our Joy Behar deep dive video a few weeks ago. We argued then that after nearly 30 years on The View, Joy was fundamentally altering her behavior toward Whoopi, no longer instinctively acting as her shield or compromising her own stance to keep the atmosphere light. We highlighted the minor disputes, the telling body language, and those recent interviews where Joy's descriptions of the panel's chemistry felt noticeably strained. Every single one of those indicators was a precursor to this exact televised explosion. The professional mask is finally slipping. The polite on-camera decorum that sustained this partnership for decades is disintegrating, and this live broadcast was inevitable fallout. Furthermore, this friction must be viewed through the lens of Whoopi's current standing at the network. Just days prior to this clash, we discussed reports that ABC executives are planning a radical overhaul for the show's milestone 30th season, with rumors circulating that Whoopi might be excluded from that future lineup. This follows a significant tension lingering from her high-profile suspension back in 2022, adding even more weight to this moment. We previously analyzed the fallout from Monique publicly confronting her earlier this year, alongside that embarrassing voter ID blunder, where her own colleagues were forced to correct her live on air. We have also highlighted those moments where Whoopi herself candidly admitted that her continued presence at the table is motivated strictly by the need to pay her bills. Currently, Whoopi is a superstar under immense pressure, a moderator whose once absolute authority over the room is visibly disintegrating. Consequently, when Joy Behar publicly interrogates her on a topic as deeply personal as her physical history, it carries a much heavier significance than it would have 5 years ago. Half a decade ago, Joy openly doubting Whoopi would have been practically unthinkable. The hierarchy was unmistakable. Whoopi was the undisputed lead, the dominant moderator, and a legendary Oscar winner with 40 years of fame, while Joy, despite her seniority, remained deferential within the panel's unspoken structure. She consistently bolstered Whoopi and avoided on-air challenges. That was the established agreement that kept the show functioning smoothly. However, those old rules no longer apply to this production. This awkward exchange during the Mindy Kaling segment serves as definitive evidence that the status quo has fundamentally shifted. Joy has officially abandoned the supportive sidekick role she occupied for nearly 20 years. She has become noticeably sharper, more combative, and far more willing to let the viewers witness her disapproval of the moderator's statements. This behavioral pivot, regardless of its origin, will undoubtedly trigger long-term consequences for the program's future. Adding another layer to this unfolding drama, Joy Behar recently announced she is taking an immediate hiatus from The View for an extended European vacation, leaving a rotation of guest hosts to fill her seat during this absence. Taken in isolation, a co-host taking a leave of absence isn't particularly noteworthy. After all, co-hosts take breaks frequently, and people travel for various personal reasons. At 82 years old, Joy has undeniably earned the right to enjoy time off whenever she chooses. However, the specific timing of this departure is remarkably curious. This trip follows immediately after the Mindy Kaling confrontation, right on the heels of reports regarding ABC's potential refresh plans, and after weeks of palpable tension that any regular viewer can clearly sense. Joy stepping away, even for a short duration, provides her with necessary perspective and distance, allowing her to observe the show's internal mechanics from the outside for a while. If one were inclined to speculate, as many in this audience surely will, this move could be interpreted as Joy deliberately creating breathing room while the situation involving Whoopi continues to escalate. While Joy may genuinely just desire a European getaway, in the world of professional television, timing is often the most revealing factor of all. We must also examine the broader pattern of behavior, as this Mindy Kaling incident is far from an isolated occurrence. Just a fortnight ago, Whoopi performed what one media outlet labeled a save of the week during a live broadcast. She was delivering a sharp critique of Donald Trump when she caught herself about to use a word she evidently deemed inappropriate for air. She trailed off abruptly, glanced at the audience, and received applause for catching her own mistake. While some viewers found the moment charmingly human, others argued it was merely the latest piece of evidence suggesting that Whoopi is no longer in total command of her live commentary as she once was. These unscripted moments are becoming increasingly difficult to anticipate, with longer pauses and more frequent on-air slip-ups becoming the new norm. Consider this alongside Whoopi's 2-week absence earlier this year, while she was in Naples filming an Italian soap opera. Upon her return, she spoke with genuine enthusiasm about the experience, expressing a deep desire to pursue more acting roles and describing the project as a creative outlet she hadn't felt in years. Taken alone, a side project isn't an issue. Stars explore other opportunities constantly. However, The specific way Whoopi discussed it suggested something far more significant than a simple acting gig. It sounded like a woman meticulously planning her exit strategy. It felt like someone who has occupied the same daytime television seat for nearly 20 years and is finally starting to visualize a life beyond that table. When you synthesize all these elements, that awkward exchange during the Mindy Kaling interview on May 27th no longer looks like an isolated incident. Instead, it appears to be a clear symptom of a much larger seismic shift that has been transforming The View for the better part of a year. The core dynamics are fundamentally changing. The old deference is gone. The co-hosts have become noticeably sharper, less protective of Whoopi, and far more willing to challenge her authority on live television. For her part, Whoopi is reacting to this mounting pressure in ways that create captivating television, but signal deteriorating workplace dynamics. That snap at Joy was brief, but was undeniably real. In this high-stakes environment, these small fractures tend to compound until the entire structure finally breaks. One factor that frequently goes ignored is that the live studio audience at The View is incredibly perceptive regarding what they are witnessing. These are dedicated viewers who watch the program daily, meticulously following the panel's shifting dynamics and reading body language as accurately as any seasoned analyst. The audience's immediate reactions to these instances have been deeply revealing. The supportive applause when Whoopi catches herself mid-gaffe, the hesitant pause when Joy openly questions her, and the palpable shift in atmosphere whenever these tensions erupt. The audience is clearly reading the room. They sense that a major transformation is occurring. What they are detecting aligns perfectly with the ongoing analysis we provide on this channel. Online reactions to the Mindy Kaling segment were instantaneous and predictably divided. Some fans are defending Whoopi, arguing that Joy was being fundamentally disrespectful by questioning a colleague's personal weight journey. Conversely, others side with Joy, maintaining that she was simply being authentic and that Whoopi's sharp retaliation was unprofessional. Then there's a third, most fascinating group, one that echoes our own long-standing theory, which claims the chemistry on The View is fundamentally broken. This group believes that whatever glue held this panel together for decades has finally dissolved, and that something significant must give way very soon. Now, here's my honest take, which I always share with you directly. I believe Whoopi Goldberg is officially on borrowed time at The View indeed. I believe she no longer anticipates these volatile moments with the same sharpness she once possessed. The exchange during the Mindy Kaling interview is merely the latest entry in a rapidly expanding list of minor incidents that, while insignificant individually, paint an undeniably clear picture when viewed as a whole. Joy Behar is clearly finished playing second fiddle indefinitely. Furthermore, Sunny Hostin and Sarah Haynes are becoming significantly sharper and more frequent with their own pushback than in previous seasons.